Hello. Hi. So I'm really excited about this one because today I've had an interesting arrival on my doorstep. I've had, it's not going to show on the green screen. Problems already. The Indicator box set of Confessions. I'm going to get rid of the green screen so that I can actually show you. Let's see if I do it over here. Oh, there we go, sneaking in. It's the Confessions of a window cleaner, of a pop performer, of a driving instructor, and from a holiday camp. All have arrived today in this wonderful Indicator set. I'm going to take you through it. Hi, Bud Files. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to take you through them all. I've not even opened it yet. I'm a big fan of some of the Indicator releases that I've had in the past. So I'm going to share some of those with you, but really I'm going to dive into this because this is like an epic encyclopedia of the Confessions series. And I think the only way I can do this and show you is get rid of my green screen. So I'm going to say goodbye to Robin over my shoulder there. And he will be gone. And then hopefully, when I hold this up, here we go. You can see this beautiful Indicator release. Now, my favorite Indicator release before this one, and obviously I've not watched it yet, but I've only just got it. I've seen the films. But before this one, I'm expecting this to be good, was the Indicator release of Corruption. The, there we go, Corruption. The Peter Cushing film, the insane lasers in a cottage Peter Cushing film with added Austin Powers isms. It's mad. But you get these wonderful art cards with it, which I've still not taken out of the little wrapper, but I have taken them out, but I've left them inside the wrapper, if you know what I mean. And this incredible book. And it is just such a deep dive into the making of Corruption. So I've had that one a while, and that's been my favorite Indicator one. I've got a few William Castle ones within this booklet. Within this book box set, the first thing you get is a little Indicator pamphlet with some other films that are on there. Some really strange ones, some that I know I don't like, so I won't be buying those, obviously. But then there are some really good ones on there that I do actually own or have owned in the past. I'll just kind of hold them up. It should focus for you there. There's a few of them. As you can see, they're all mainly classic releases, but not ones that you would necessarily, not like big, massive blockbusters. It's quite an arty label, I would say, Indicator. And no, I guess people won't have thoughts on this just yet if they've not had it delivered today. I could have had it delivered on Saturday, but I was out, so I rearranged the dates. I've had it on pre-order for a while. I did, to finance this, I did sell my old box set DVD of Confessions series, which were, it was actually deleted, I believe. I sold it, got a decent price for it, and then I invested in this because I just couldn't resist. Now, I've got a couple of videos on the Confession series. If you don't know what the Confession series are, then I've done a video already on the channel. If you go into my live section, you'll find it there. I also read extracts from Robin Askwith, our hero of the book, of the films and this book. I read little bits of that matched up with each film. So I took people through all 4 films on that one. And I'm also doing a watch party of Driving Instructor. I keep saying window cleaner, Driving Instructor with Video Tasties, Gareth, on Sunday, I think it's this Sunday. It's in my upcoming events in my live section, but I couldn't resist sharing this box set with you. So I've not even opened it yet. I am number 250 of 5,000. It is I love the way they do these. I think I had the Gorgon, the first one I got of theirs, and I just love the little color palette along the top. Now, what I do like about this better than the Corruption one to start with, as I can see, is, I don't know if you can see on this Corruption thing, it's got one of those fold under things, which I always find quite difficult to handle. It's already got a little bit crushed. So Yeah, halfway to but files. Yeah, 250 so I guess I don't know whether how they number these. Do they number them on when on exactly when you order? Because I ordered it directly from Indicator themselves. I think it was postage and packaging all in was like about £50. Just trying to get the cardboard bit off without damaging it, which is, as I just said, I've managed to damage the last one. Corruption. What was I on corruption? Oh, corruption. I was 3,868 of 5,000, and that would make sense because it was a Christmas present, and I asked for it way after it came out. Whereas I guess I was one of the early ones with this. So already we've got, for the you bibliophiles, it looks like you've got your own little book library going on there. Or maybe, yeah, maybe Billy. Oh, okay. The number them as they're made after Astro. That's more. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'd be interested in that, how they number these sort of things. So there is a massive, and I mean a massive list of special features, which is the reason I got this, if I'm honest, because I was quite happy to have all the films. Let me just turn my light down a little bit so that I can. Maybe it won't be. It'll be a bit easier to see in this on the screen. Is that clearer or not clearer? There we go. As you can see, there's loads. In fact, I don't think it made any difference whatsoever. So, yeah, I'm going to take you through what's on this. There's so much cool stuff. And some of the stuff that's in it's amazing. Now, I've been reading, as I say, Robin Askwith's autobiography, which was written quite a while ago. I get a feeling it was written in the mid-90s. There's lots of kind of references to people in the 90s who were popular. And I'm up to holiday camp. And I think my favorite, well, I'll tell you what my favorite is in a minute. But as you can see, it also says it on the cardboard thing, the number, and it has the original posters on there. I was looking for a poster or a playbill, but I just didn't think my wife would appreciate a Confessions poster with too much sauciness on it, so I didn't in the end. I went for a few. I was looking for some new posters, and do you know what? I might just move the green screen for a moment. If you bear with me, my dog will go crazy. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to scare you. I promise. It's not going to do any damage. There we go. My dog is going. What are you doing? What have you put that there for? So here I am. I'm back. So yeah, I think it's sometimes the cardboard. What to do with the cardboard thing is a tricky one, isn't it? It's a tricky one. I love that font. Isn't that a cracking font? On the front cover, I just love it. 1974 to 1977. So I wasn't even born. I was -2 when the last one came out. So let's move corruption to one side, which I always think is a good choice in life anyway. And let's focus very much on this indicated limited edition. So special features, HD of all 4 films, original mono audio as well as a choice, Rosie Dixon Night Nurse, 88-minute film directed by Justin Cartwright and featuring many Confessions alumni, saucy tale from the pen of Christopher Wood, so the writer of the novels, because obviously these came from sort of like pulp novels. And I think it's not to be underestimated how many people saw these. Like our king went to see one of these films at the cinema. He was seeing it. You know, these films were top of the charts, competing with any film in Britain. Every single one of them performed incredibly well, some of them worldwide, or certainly certain territories that they were targeted at. Never quite made it into the US in terms of success. Robin Askwith mentions that in his book, that if maybe the love for Benny Hill kind of in America, when that started, if that overlapped a bit more, it would have been perfect timing, but they just didn't know how to market these films at the time. So yeah, so there's an extra little film in here, an hour and 28-minute film, Rosie Dixon Night Nurse, which I have not seen. Audio commentaries for all four with Robin Askwith. Now, that'll be great because I've seen a few interviews with Robin Askwith over the years and read his book, and he's such a great talker and a really good actor as well, but also like he's got a real encyclopedic knowledge of comedy and celebrity and doesn't take himself too seriously. Always comes across really well. So I'm looking forward to listening to those commentaries. I will actually. I don't listen to many commentaries these days. Remember when DVDs first came out? Everyone was like, "Oh, I'll listen to this commentary." I used to listen to the Kevin Smith ones, but like all of them now I don't. But this is going to tempt me. What else have we got? Hey Judy from 2024, cult film about Judy Matheson. Interesting. Recalls working alongside veteran director Val Guest and co-star Askwith on Confessions of a Window Cleaner. So short. I imagine that's like a short featurette. Confessions of a Film Composer, interview with Ed Welch, the man responsible for scoring 3 of the films, as well as Rosie Dixon, Night Nurse. Oh, careful, goes how I say this one. Cunning Stunts, Britain's most celebrated stunt performer, Rocky Taylor. Oh yeah, with his hose pipe. I've been reading about that recently. Asking people to not do things. He seems like a real character, Rocky Taylor. I bet Gareth on Video Tasties channel has got so much on there about stunt performers. I've actually got a stunt performer interview coming out tonight with Leslie Hoffman, who did the stunts on the Naked Gun and Airplane films, and that's in a couple of hours' time on my channel. So if you want to check that one out, that was awesome. I'm saying this on the 19th of the 8th. 2024, but it will still be there, I'm sure, hopefully, if they don't shut my channel down or something like they did with Riff Tracks. So yeah, Rocky Taylor featurette. Teammates from 2024, veteran broadcaster David Hamilton, David Hamilton, discusses his cameos in Confessions of a Pop Performer. No, it's not. That's more the other DJs, and possibly some of them might remain nameless. Yeah, pop performer. Saucy Ingredients 2024, casting director Esther Charkham discusses Rosie Dixon, Night Nurse, and the unique job of casting a British sex comedy. Oh, pardon. The BEHP interview with Val Guest from 1988, archive footage with the director, an interview with Jeffrey Foote, audio recording of the editor of 3 of the films and Rosie Dixon, Super 8 version of Confessions of a Driving Instructor. That'd be interesting. Theatrical trailers, image galleries. Image galleries, yeah, okay. Sometimes okay, but do we really, honestly, who looks at image galleries on a DVD or Blu-ray? New and improved English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, so they can go, "Ooh, blimey, God, ooh, me plums!" Is now accessible for everyone. Let's see. Oh, this is good. Limited edition, 120 bucks with a new essay by Simon Sheridan. I know Simon Sheridan is. He did the amazing documentary Saucy that's just been on Channel 4, 2-part documentary all about the comedy films, adult comedy films of the 70s. Well, before that, but all the way up to the sort of their total demise in the late 70s. Wow. So Simon Sheridan's written the book. Good. Archival articles on producer Greg Smith, executive producer Michael Klinger. Loved him in MASH. No, I'm joking. Screenwriter and novelist Christopher Wood. Oh, the actual, okay. Director Norman Cohen. Actors Robin Askwith, Sheila White, and Linda Hayden. Oh, cool. Linda Hayden's in there. Archival production reports on, actual making ofs from the time, from Driving Instructor and Rosie Dixon. World premiere on Blu-ray. Yes, that's correct, because I had them on DVD. Limited edition box set of 5,000 individually numbered units for the UK. Now, I've read all the back of that. If you're still interested, if you're still with me, if you're watching this in the future, hello, how's it going in the future? I hope everything's okay. And if you're watching me in live, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And you're still with me. I found that really interesting. Now, before I go into the book, I want to show you each. I want to show you this back cover of Robin Askwith autobiography to give you an idea of what you're in for. Oh, blimey. God. Oh, Mick Jacobs. Now, I'm going to take you through each of the DVDs. No, Blu-rays. Sorry, old man. So Confessions from a Holiday Camp. First one I picked up. It tells you what's on there. They're in little cardboard sleeves like this. And it's also must have Rosie Dixon, Night Nurse on this one because she is there. on this thing, unless it's on. She's on all of them. No, I think it's on this one. Okay, tells you a few extra things here as well. And Confessions of a Driving Instructor, not to be sold separately. Don't sell these separately. Who's buying these separately? Oh, and it's cool. Japanese poster on the inside, Japanese artwork. Love it. That's cool. Now that's a poster I want. I've got a few Japanese books. I've got a Young Guns ones, like promotional books. I've got a few that I like. Yep. So Holiday Camp we've done. Pop Performer. Pop Performer. There we go. Look at that. These are great. Oh, these are so good. And that's what was inside the DVD artwork as well of the thing. Yeah. Really good. Oh, I love these already. My interview with David Hamilton is 4 minutes long, by the way. Just saw that and noticed that. Confessions of a Window Cleaner. Oh, bloody hell. Can't believe what I just saw through that bloody window. Satisfaction Guaranteed. That looks like one made for a foreign market, I think, maybe. And wasn't it a shame? Not a shame, but I was kind of interested in what the inside number 9 Robin Askwith on the buses mixed mash thing was going to be. But obviously, then they did something. They went a completely different direction, which I liked also. So it's okay. But yes, subtitles can be really helpful. I sometimes use them to help me focus more. So yeah, and also if they're in certain positions, they might cover up things and make it more family friendly. You know, like in Hot Shots. No, but without being flippant, yes, I do think it's really important to have those subtitles on there. So we've got the book here, as I said, written by the wonderful Simon Sheridan, who did a great job with the documentary that that was on the BBC Channel 4 recently. I wonder if it's going to be available in like a hard copy to buy. That would be great. And so in here we have a book that goes to 115 pages and then some credits. It breaks it down into 4 sections to start with: Window Cleaner, then Pop Performer, Driving Instructor, and Holiday Camp. So in the order that they were actually made. Then True Confessions by Simon Sheridan, Confessions of a Film Producer by John Williams, which was written in 1975. Some articles from different magazines. So Student Dave Makes History at Elstree. Don't know what that means. Image of an Image Maker. Confessions of a Writer Who Dreams It All Up. Norman Cohen section. Cool as cast iron. He's not built for blushes. Sounds interesting. Cockney found her fame in Paris. I think Baby Love Girl goes legitimate. These might be news articles as well. Robin the Confessor. Rosie Dixon Night Nurse, the making of Rosie Dixon Night Nurse, and about the presentations. So let's have a good flick through this. Oh, it's got loads of sources in there. I don't think there are just articles, no. But some of them were written at quite a way back. So let's go through these. Oh, love it. The artwork looks wonderful. There's a lot of pictures of Robin Askwith going, "God, blimey. Oh, I slipped and I did myself a mischief." It's making stuff up now. Okay, so as we know, Timmy Lea, a guy who gets a lot of the songs named after him in this film, is one of our main cast members. But I'm going to kind of go over some of the main cast members of these films that are mentioned here. So Sidney Noggett is Timmy's soon-to-be brother-in-law, Anthony Booth. We have Rosie Noggett, Sheila White, Mrs. Lee, Dandy Nichols, Mr. Lee, Bill Maynard, Greengrass from what's it called? A really boring TV show that I used to have to watch because there was nothing else to watch. Heartbeat. Mr. Lee, yes, Elizabeth Radlett, Linda Hayden, John Le Mesurier. Oh, pardon me, John Le Mesurier from Dad's Army. Joan Hickson, Joan Hickson, John Le Mesurier, and Linda Hayden, all family there. There's so many, just so many names that you'll recognise as you go through. I'm not going to read every single cast member. The first one directed by Val Guest, produced by Greg Smith, and yes, screenplay by Christopher Ward and Val Guest, so they kind of work together. and based on a novel by Christopher Wood. Christopher Wood wrote the novels as Timmy Lea, as the character Timmy Lea. It's a bit like, do you know, I was just thinking, like, it's a bit like when they did that Billy Piper thing, Confessions of what's that called? Confessions as well, Call Girl or something. It's kind of a similar thing, like using a nom de plume, a name of plume. So yeah, and lots of names that you'd recognise from sort of classic British comedy. It says here that This Is Your Life, Timmy Lea. Words and music by Roger Greenaway and Roger Cook. Is that the same Roger Cook who did the Cook Report? If anybody knows that, let me know. That would be crazy, like the sort of people's champion Roger Cook going in and shutting down dodgy deals and things. Wow, that would be interesting. So then next came Confessions of a Pop Performer. A few additions to the cast as they got more popular. People like Bob Todd and Jill Gascoigne and Linda Regan, Ian Lavender, another Dad's Army alumni, Bill Pertwee, David Hamilton. So was in it. David Prowse is in it as well. Darth Vader, as we say in England, Darth Vader was in it too. And Rula Wenska. So the names got bigger and more legitimate people. A lot of legitimate people were in it and then didn't realize that there were 2, possibly 3 versions cut of the film. And that became more of a problem with some of the knockoffs. I think from the Confessions series were pretty above board. They weren't like full, how's your father? It was a bit more like, just asking after your father. So Norman Cohen directed the Pop Performer as well, and Driving Instructor. By the time we get to Driving Instructor, we get a few more names in there you might recognise. Liz Fraser, Windsor Davis, Irene Handel, George Layton. So many. Jeffrey Hughes. That's Bob Godfrey. Then I thought, the guy from Henry's Cat. And that was also directed by Norman Cohen and based on the novel by Christopher Wood, as they all are. Now, Confessions from a Holiday Camp, which is the last one, but I would say my favourite, even though I think a lot of people it isn't. Maybe because I just have like a real fondness for old holiday camp holidays from when I was a kid. And that had most of the same people in it. This is it's on a slight downturn at this point. Otherwise, there'd be more, wouldn't they? I think. And that one was in 1977. Now, each of these that I've been reading to you are like a little overview of cast and crew with a little picture on there. So then there's an introduction written in 2024 by Simon Sheridan. And it talks about it challenging the dominance of the Carry On series. But bearing in mind, Carry Ons went from 1958 to 1992. And there is a few streams on my live section all about Carry On films, if you're interested. And it just basically goes into the history. A really nice introduction here with some really cool pictures to go along with it as well. And with Anthony Booth and Bill Maynard and Linda Hayden. As you can, there we go. Beautiful. I do love this autofocus. It does help. Especially when you've got this thing in your hand and you're all excited. So there's some great stories. And I, as I'm flicking through, I noticed some of the stories here look very similar to what I've read in Robin Askwith's book. So that's worth reading as well. And it does talk a little bit about things like the success of this leading to things like the amorous milkman and the ups and downs of a handyman, and I think I said on other ones as well, the Confessions, what's the other ones called, Adventures of didn't do it for me. I always felt they were always made me feel quite sad, and they were like grubbier, whereas these are a bit more cheeky and naughty, which is what I prefer, I think. And no one's watching these to like get overexcited, are they? Surely they're not, and don't call me. No. Like Adventures of a Taxi Driver and all that. And I kind of felt sorry for Barry Evans, and then when I watched the documentary and learned a bit more about him, strangely enough, I felt like my gut feeling about him was correct. Like he was just, it was a bit of a sad story in the end. So distributing and renaming of other films. This is interesting because I was just watching the Sharksploitation documentary made by Steven Scarlato, who's does one of my favorite podcasts. He was talking about, although people in his documentary Sharksploitation, about renaming of films around the time of Jaws. So yeah, similar people putting Confessions in front of something like Confessions of a photographer or Confessions of a frustrated housewife. She's just like, oh, I'm bloody fed up, frustrated. Yeah, so we've got a few things here, such as just showing the sheer scale of the popularity of them. It's funny, it's almost a forgotten period of British film history, and to be honest, they were keeping British film going with this success. These films are what I think a lot of arty films that we celebrate in Italy and France and stuff would be like if British people made them, because we just find stuff silly and laugh at ourselves and make fun of it in a way that maybe other countries take more seriously, or take in a more weird direction. We're a bit more like, oh, blimey, cheeky, and like everything's a bit naughty rather than and silly, and like I think the silliness of it makes it very British. So there's so much here that I'm going to have to pour over later on. I'm going to have to read later on. Everything I'm saying I feel like is an innuendo because I've got this book in my hand. It's got great power. Talking about the different actors and things like that, I'll show you some of the pictures. Here's Chrissy Eden with Robin Askwith, and some bits from Confessions of a Holiday Camp as well. Honestly, some of these stills photographs are amazing. I think one thing Robin Askwith's great at is facial expressions. Oh my days. He never went for things half measures in these things, does he? He still doesn't. And I'm going to skip past that. So once we got through, there's loads there by Simon Sheridan, which I really can't wait to read later on. So we've got the little 16 by 9, I guess, posters of each one. Aren't they great when people used to draw posters like that? And the closest we have to people drawing and making great posters in the UK now is Graham Humphreys. He does a great job with some of his, but more of a horror based. Wouldn't it be good if we did comedies like that now? Like if they did an In-Betweeners movie poster and it was drawn like that, hand drawn. So then there's a section about by John Williams, written in 1975, called Confessions of a Film Producer. I think that's not him, is it? That's not him. So that's there. Then there's some more pictures of our friend Robin Askwith getting caught in all kind of uncompromising positions. And Windsor Davis there going, oh, wait, what's going on there? What's going on up there? No, that's not a very good impression. That is, I've seen that being sold on eBay, that poster. Those are those little daybill poster things that are like the smaller posters, similar to the size of my Star Crash one over there. So yeah, this is an article from 1976 from the National Film School, now the National Film and Television School, and it's called Student Dave Makes History at Elstree. Yeah, no wonder David Prowse turned up on these things. In fact, I know in the book there's bits where they were filming Star Wars, and you've got Robin Askwith and cast members sat around the table, and you've got like Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford, slightly embarrassed of the film they're making. But yeah, wonder how they got on. How they got on with that film. Again, like I say, facial expressions. So there's some National Film Image of an Image Maker by Harry Cohen from 1976. So this is Harry Cohen writing about Michael Klinger in 1976, the producer. So, and then we've got another holiday camp picture here. I think the only thing I would get from a holiday camp would be maybe first prize in the Knobbly Knees contest. We've got the wonderful Linda Bellingham there with Robin Askwith here from Driving Instructor. Some of this artwork's great. Very good. Look at that suit. Look at that Kipper tie, and that was the name of the band in Pop Performer, Kipper, if you remember. Confessions of the Writer Who Dreams It All Up Lying Down. This was written in. This is from the Daily Mirror, an interview with Christopher Wood from the Daily Mirror. This is just above and beyond in terms of detail. Absolutely fantastic. The amount of stuff. So there's no part of Timmy Lea and Chris. He loves me for all of me. Oh, that's his wife, Jane. That makes sense, though, he's talking to him in the third person. Yeah, okay, so his wife's just like, he's not doing all this kind of stuff. Nobody really does this kind of stuff, do they? Nobody accidentally makes a washing machine go insane and bubbles go everywhere. And, like, these things do not happen. Or if they do, no one's told me about it. And I'd be very disappointed. So we've got some pictures from all 4 of the films here. It's funny, like the working man's club side of things. Like, definitely my experience of them as a youngster was like that there was nothing exciting. Or none of the acts were particularly exciting. It wasn't like even like as good as the Phoenix Club. So then we've got an interview or an article here about Norman Cohen, directing of the 3 Confessions films, for a piece titled "Cinema's Full Frontal Assault on the Box Office." From The Guardian. Ooh, from The Guardian. Oh, wow. So, yeah. Interesting. And then we've got a few other people on the... there he is, Mr. Cohen, on set. Wow, this is so detailed. Oh, my word. From The Guardian, 1976. Liverpool Echo. From 77. And The Guardian again. Letters and Carry On Cabby, A Matter of Merit. Ooh. Adventures of a Taxi Driver. Oh, that was it. It was so note, Adventures of a Taxi Driver producers Stanley and Peter Long took offence at their film being branded a cheap imitation and wrote a strongly worded reply to The Guardian. But they did. Complaining that Cunningham was not only being grossly unjust and inaccurate in his assumptions, but particularly insulting to the professionalism of the many excellent artistes and technicians engaged in its production. Only in Britain can we get the ump and write a strongly worded letter to the newspaper about like a film about jiggly bums and willies and... I'm sorry, I'm just... By the way, if you're watching on X, I really would appreciate it if you clicked on the link to watch on YouTube as well. And join the YouTube group there. There's so many people that kind of... I don't mean join the... You don't have to pay anything. Just watch on YouTube. There's so many great people that interact with me on there, and it's a good way of kind of getting me to talk about films and things that you want to talk about. And there's so many great channels that I'm connected to and do watch parties with who are just amazing people. Did a really great Nosferatu stream last night, if anyone's interested in that. With Al Lecard. I've got a Confessions of a Driving Instructor, I have to remember which one, on Sunday this week with Video Tasty, so I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I can't show that picture. Oh, blimey. Cool as cast iron, he's not built for blushes. So this is Robert, you know Robert Askwith, don't you? Robin Askwith speaking to Sue Falconridge of the Liverpool Echo about what makes him tick. Nothing embarrasses him. Well, it can't in this. I mean, he's got... I remember reading about him having to have makeup on his bum and all kinds of things. I can't show you that picture, but he's smiling and he's going... like, the thing is, and what makes it funny is, if he was... It's funny, I was reading an article yesterday with Edmondson talking about Rick Mayall and how they're sort of... They never stopped being friends, but the comedic partnership struggled a bit when Rick wanted his character to be more of a kind of more attractive to women and more reflective to what he was like as a real person. Whereas Edmondson was like, well, the success is that he is awkward and endearing and useless and strange and all these quirky things that people were more interested in. And I think that's the case with Timmy Lea. I think that's what makes Timmy Lea so amazing, is like, he is not a Lothario. He's an well, he is, but he's an accidental Lothario. He's the sort of guy, you know, just sort of trips over and falls down and ends up in the embrace of some lovely lady. which I guess most awkward, unconventional, skittish, nervous men would at the time, even now I suppose, would dream of these things happening to them. So it's a kind of wish fulfillment for them. If he was just super cool, and then it'd be, I mean, that works with something like, say, James Bond, but this certainly isn't James Bond. And I think he leans into it, and he's not afraid of making himself look like a fool. In fact, everything's at the expense of Timmy, and that's what I quite like about it. Is there's no nasty laughing at people's expense. There's no stories come out about people feeling exploited or any of those things. It just comes across as a good, fun time that everybody had, and I think a lot of that seems to be from Robin Askwith leading from the front and making people feel included and listened to and part of the process, and just him having so much fun. The guy must be like just a force of nature to work with. And here he is, another picture of him with his flat cap on. We had a brief resurgence of flat caps in the 80s, and I believe Peaky Blinders has helped with that as well. There's loads about him being a QPR fan in the book and hanging out with Stan Bowles and people like that. So if you're into your football, there's quite a bit of football in there too. But don't let that put you off. It's not all football. There's a lot of talk about his bottom and things like that. If that's oh, brilliant! Yes, the Irene Handel driving the car scene. I won't give away too much about that, but that's something that I know he likes to talk about a lot and was quite funny, because I think it ended up being legitimately dangerous. We've got the whole family here, whole family portrait. I don't know. I could never quite get into Bill Maynard in anything. This is probably what I like him in the most, but I don't know. I just wasn't like, oh, cool, Bill Maynard. Like when Jeffrey Hughes pops up, I was like, oh, Jeffrey Hughes. But Bill Maynard, I was like, but yeah, I don't know. So I'm sure loads of people think he's amazing, which is great. Oh yes. So now this part is talking about the success around the world, and just mentioned Charles Aznavour there. My dad always called him Charles Has No Voice. Charles Has No Voice. I think that might have come from our neighbour at the time, who was what's his name? Who passed away recently? The impressionist Mike Yarwood. I'm pretty sure he came up with the Charles Has No Voice. I think he was a nice guy. Mike Yarwood, from what people said. We had some strange, considering we're like the most sort of working class area, like, you know, not like we're in Hollywood or anything. We had Joanne Whalley-Kilmer, and then living in on our thing over the road, and before that we had Mike Yarwood. How weird. Strange. And down road we had Will Mellor, but that's not quite as exciting as John Whalley-Kilmer. So yeah, talking about the impact in different countries of the series, which sounds great. And an article here. Who's this all about? This is about Sheila White. So there's an article about Sheila White, who plays Timmy's sister Rosie. So she's with them. Isn't it funny though? Obviously there's loads of things that tell the age of these films, but the fact that we're supposed to still root for Tony Booth's character Sid, even though he's constantly trying to have affairs on Timmy's sister, and Timmy's okay with this. It doesn't bother him at all. There's so many films like that where it's like, oh, he's only trying to get his end away. Now, apparently that's a problem. You're not allowed to do that. So yeah, public service announcement. And there she is, sister with Tony Booth and Robin. And we've got Bill Maynard doing a face here. We've got Hayden, White, Maynard, and Smith. He's looking a bit, do you know, I think Bill Maynard's looking a bit like Donald Pleasance in this top picture. See that? Where am I going? There we go. Linda Hayden there at the bottom. He looks like Donald Pleasance in that top one there. How many shots did he fire? And then an article here, an interview from the Sunday Mercury, all about Linda Hayden, from the talking about her being in Baby. This was from 1974 in the film Baby Love, and then moving on to being in this one. Do you know what? I think I found an old box of LPs, and I think it was the soundtrack to Baby Love. And I didn't know anything about the film, and those kind of, I guess, Lolita-esque things just give me the creeps a bit, so I'm not that interested in those. But yeah, and it talks about her sort of transitioning into being in confessions films. So yeah, I watched a film with Linda Hayden in recently that she hated. It's a horror film, and she absolutely hated being in it. And it's got Carl Howman in it as well, and it was renamed. Oh, what's it called? It's going to drive me mad. And it was like the one film that she was just like, this was not what I expected. But I can't remember what it was called. House on Straw Hill or Expose. That was the one. She really didn't like that one. With Udo Kier in it as well. I think and that was one of those maybe where they recut it and made it into something a bit harder than it was supposed to be. And when they've remade it, put it out recently, they've used the title "The Blood on Satan's Claw" to make it kind of seem, appeal to horror fans and Hammer fans and things like that. It's set in a little village in Essex, I believe. It's worth watching, and Carl Howman's in it. He's a baddie in it, but he gets his. Apparently, it was remade in 2010 as a film called Stalker, aka Expose, directed by Martin Kemp. No, it's true. Jane March in it. Oh, the was it the sinner from Pinner? So yeah, I guess this is like Essex-based people. Maybe they knew about it being filmed around there or whatever. But anyway, I'm going on a bit of a Linda Hayden digression here. But I don't. It's only because I watched that recently and I just couldn't work out what to make of it. Oh, Udo Kier just beats up these two ruffians at the beginning. Remember that? Here we are with another interview with this about the stage version of Confessions. I wonder if that'll ever happen again. Somebody redoing that, or I feel like a stage Carry On or a stage Confessions would work. I know they've done stage versions of A Lower Low, and I know that Carry On kind of did things. Obviously they did them at the time, but it would be pretty cool to see stage versions of some of these. So there he is with his QPR mug. I remember when we beat QPR back in '92, I think, and they had Ray Wilkins and Les Ferdinand. We beat them. It was a great day. I was a younger man then. Maxine Casson, Askwith, and Liz Fraser in Confessions of a Driving Instructor, all there in the looking like the British Airmen and from A Lower Low. In no way is Robin Askwith shy. There you go. On that bombshell. We've got a few more pictures here. We've got a picture here which pretty much sums up Robin Askwith. I hope he's not that heavy because this would kill somebody's back. Well, this is, I think, from, it doesn't say what it's from, but I think it's from Holiday Camp. So yeah, then we've got a bit of a description of Rosie Dixon, Night Nurse. I didn't know we were getting an additional movie with Debbie Ash, who plays what was she called? Was it Debbie Ash? Deborah Ash? Oh, it's Leslie Ash. Yeah. Beryl Reid, John LeMessurier, Arthur Askey's in there. Where's my washboard? Liz Fraser, Bob Todd, Christopher Ellison, Burnside. Put on your pants and make me a cup of tea. Jeremy Sinden, is that Donald Sinden's son? Leslie Ash is in it too. There's Natalie. I bet she's like a kid in this. I did think it was. Who else? Well, I'm interested to see this Rosie Dixon, Night Nurse now. It's got a lot of people involved in it. It was obviously written by Christopher Wood. Guess who he wrote it as? No, not Timmy Lea. He wrote it as Rosie Dixon. goes back to that thing I was saying about the Confessions of a Call Girl thingy bob. Okay, we're getting near the end of the booklet here. Oh, Rosie Dixon, night nurse. Doesn't look like she's a particularly good nurse. She just can't seem to find a pulse on this guy. Dear me, he's all skin and bones. As reported with Sunday People, they're stripped to be Rosie the Raver. The role was highly coveted. The making of Rosie Dixon, night nurse. Debbie Ash. Ooh. Wow. Articles in the Manchester Evening News. Evening News. Bob Todd, not having a clue what's going on really in these films, I think. I think he didn't know what was going on. He probably just was like, yeah, I'll make the film. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's what it says on the in Robin Askwith's book. Debbie Ash and Caroline Argyle. The first film that these producers made was a film called Inserts with Richard Dreyfuss. Interesting. Wow. And look at that Japanese. That's in the inside of one of the discs as well. Oh, if I could find a copy of that, that will be going on the wall, because there's nothing. Oh no, I was going to say there's nothing too saucy to put on the wall, but no, there probably is. And then there's some credits for the people who've made this. What a great job they have done. Now the booklet, strangely, the booklet is 360. You can see that it's booklet 360 of 5,000, whereas my DVD is 250. Curiouser and curiouser. There he is. Can't spot the difference. Oh, blimey. Oh, it Jacobs. Just sound like Joe Pasquale saying that. So I would recommend getting his book as well. This version of it was only a couple of quid off eBay. Hear what it was like to work with Windsor Davis, John Le Mesurier, Irene Handel, Leonard Rossiter, Miss Jones. No, that was terrible as well. Robert Lindsay, Sid James, Kenneth Connor, genius, bona fide genius. I was talking to some of the cast of Hello Hello at a charity thing, and we're having a really good chat. And when I asked about Kenneth Connor, oh my word, we were talking for ages. They were they were talking to me for ages, telling me about what a wonderful guy he was, how skilled he was, just what an amazing guy. Like I was talking to Sue Hodge and Arthur Bostrom, Guy Siner, Kim Hartman. They were all just in raptures about the late great Kenneth Connor, and you watch him in some other things as well. Do you know who he reminds me a little bit of, physically wise, and especially when in some of the ones where you see him in a vest? Reminds me a bit of Dick Miller, who's another one of my favorite sort of unsung actors, who's maybe not seen as an incredible actor as he was. And Terry Scott, who I believe was a big meanie, was a bit of a meanie. Don't quote me on that. Not to mention a fresh-faced Al Pacino. Alf Patchins. Oh, brilliant. Find out how Robin came up with the brilliant idea of having bubbles float out of his bum. I want to know that. We all need to know that. Inquiring minds ask. Experience the real life with Nail and I as Robin spends time with Bruce Robinson and his flatmate Vivian. Sounds like the young ones. The stories, the names, the memories come thick and fast as Robin Askwith relates his stranger-than-fiction life. No fan of 70s television and film can go without this book. It was $14.99 when it came out, but it was a couple of quid now. When did it come out? When did I get this? Well, I got it relatively recently, but it actually came out in... just reading some of the quotes on the front. 1999. That was the one I got. So listen to this for dedications. Live every day as if it's your last, because one day you'll be right. Tommy Docherty, the Doc, underrated Man United manager. Got relegated, but he brought him back. Can you believe that? Man United. Anyway, a girl goes into a pub and orders a double entendre. So the barman, I read that as Batman, as the barman gives her one. If it's a Batman gives her one, that I didn't sell that very well. And then this is what apparently Pasolini said to her, because Robin Askwith worked with Pasolini. He knows he's a dirty, interesting filmmaker. You look like you use your male chicken a lot. That's what he says to him. Wonder if he said that first time he met him. So let's see. Windsor Davis wrote a foreword as well. Oh, I'll tell you what's interesting in here. This section about Alan Lake, which I'm quite interested in Alan Lake because I don't open till Christmas. I find it quite an interesting character. So let's go back over in good teaching fashion. We've done our intro. We've done our main teaching, and now let's do our plenary. And I'm going to be asking questions here. There's a little bit of a review of what we've done. So, how many discs are there? That's right. 4. How many books are there? One book. And the book has lots of pages, 115 of them, 116 if you count the front cover. And do I recommend getting this? Now, I haven't watched any of the things yet, but everything in it is what I would have wanted. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be an absolute hit for me, and something that will be pride of place next to my corruption indicator set, which again I would highly recommend getting hold of. The Indicator do a great job. The Gorgon is a beautiful looking one that they've done. I'm pretty sure they did some William Castle ones, like ones that escape my memory that I definitely own. The Tingler. I think they did the Tingler, which sounds a bit saucy, but it's not as saucy as you'd think. This one, there it is. Vincent Price, the mellifluous voice of Vincent Price. And by the way, the BFI are bringing out Cooking Price-Wise, the television series of Vincent Price cooking. So I've ordered that. I'm looking forward to that. I've got an idea of maybe I'm going to try cooking some of those things on the channel. I don't know how I'd get all the stuff in my office while I'm doing it, but yeah, it's an idea. Maybe get a few other people on the channel to do it, and we'll try and cook Price-Wise and see what happens. Are you interested in that? Are you interested in me burning myself live on YouTube? Yes. So just to go through some other indicator ones that I might recommend and that I'm interested in getting, I don't have, which is the Santo, you know, the Lucha Libre star, the Santo box set of his, which looks quite interesting. There he is, with the white mask. Yep, is that one? I quite fancy seeing Snapshot. That would be a good one. The Todd Slaughter one, or Todd S. Laughter. Universal Noir films. Patrick, I was never a fan of the film Patrick. If that's, I don't know if that's going to offend anyone. Burt Lancaster, The Swimmer. Now, I've read about that and I learned about it, and I like Burt Lancaster, but I've never watched it, so that might be one. What else have we got from that is available? Standard editions. Peter Sellers is Hoffman, starring Sinead Cusack. Britannia Hospital. Don't. I'm not a fan of Britannia Hospital. It's just not good. In my opinion, it's just not good. It's not worth the risk. I did own that one. I don't anymore. The Batwoman. Well, that's interesting. I think Mexican. Panther Women. Yeah, there's quite a lot here that sound really cool. Humphrey Bogart, Knock on Any Door. Tokyo Joe, loads of Bogart. If you like Bogart, don't Bogart the Bogart films. Let us all have a look. The Demoniacs, the Nude Vampire. Ooh, blimey. Well, I'll be having a look through this. I quite like the fact it just has an indicator and the little thing on it. But I will be having a good look through this, and I'm going to be putting this back on my shelf, and I'll be watching very, very shortly. I'll be watching Confessions of a Driving Instructor. So if there's anybody who's watching who's new to the channel, please feel free to, well, you're free to not watch, but you're also free to watch. There's stuff coming up pretty much every day. There is, in a couple of hours' time, there will be an interview with Leslie Hoffman, the wonderful stunt performer and coordinator and actress who was in so many films that you will know, such as she was the hall guard in Nightmare on Elm Street, but she was also, and you might not know this, she was also in The Naked Gun, and she was also in Airplane, and two of my favorites. Airplane's probably my favorite comedy of all time. And she'll talk a little bit about how some of those big stunts got made. Some of the characters, some of the people certainly talk about her interactions with another Leslie Nielsen, and what he was like to work with. And that will be in about, what we are now, in about 4 hours' time. That'll be live on my channel. So looking forward to that. It's just a short interview with her specifically about that. I broke down her interview into different sections. So if you're interested in Nightmare on Elm Street, go to my podcast section of my channel. And in there, we've got some interviews with writer of Host, Jed Shepard, Uwe Boll, the dangerous Uwe Boll. Did I fight him? No, I didn't. Jason Brown, director of Ghost Track. Steve Nallen talking about his work on the unmade Life on Mars sequel. YouTuber Al Lacard, William Forsythe talking about Dick Tracy, director Brandon Scullion talking about his film The New Hands, which is great. The first part of my interview with Leslie Hoffman talking about Wes Craven and her work in Scream 2. Nickelodeon storyboard artist Jen Gleason, Justin Tamplin, director of Lights Over I always want to say Lights Over Madison County, Lights Over Montgomery County, the found footage film, which is absolutely brilliant. Police Academy documentary producer Bob Heckman, and how he envisions that being made, hopefully soon. Also, Bob Heckman returned and talked about his Friday the 13th fan film, Victim No More, which is incredible. Interview with British Shallow director Gene Dolders, The Blade Cuts Deeper, which is absolutely fantastic. A 2-hour interview with Steve Nallen, all about Spitted Image, the Muppets, his background in voice work, acting, academia. It's just a fantastic interview. Who else is on there? Thomas Smith, director of Demon Squad. Wonderful guy, making Demon Squad 2, talking about his experience of the film being riffed by Mystery Science Theatre, which I found really interesting. Director Dylan Brown of Tahoe Joe and Ghost, which is available on Tubi at the moment. What else? Interview with Richard W. Munchkin, the amazing Richard W. Munchkin, talking about Ring of Fire and his work with Don the Dragon Wilson. Who else? Ken Sago's talking about his new graphic novel. He played Kincaid in Elm Street, who's telling Freddy to F off all the time. There's a great interview on there that I really enjoyed with Dacre Stoker, the nephew of Bram Stoker, talking about the Stokerverse and his book Dracula and some of the graphic novels that he's made. Interview with director Ted Nicolau, which was talking about one of my favorite films of all time, which is Always to Hand. Terrorvision, one of my favorite horror comedies of all time, talking specifically to Ted about that. Also about Subspecies later on, that'll be there. Laurie Brewster talking about the comeback of Amicus films, which is interesting. He was a very genial chap. Who else have we got? Jeff Hayes, the writer of the new book on Sleepaway Camp, which is an incredible book about Sleepaway Camp. Jeff Hayes, Hayes, if you want to buy his book. John, the creator of the Lost Boys comics, where he has replicated the shop from the Lost Boys in the comics. Stevie Webb, we talk about 90s horror film Skinner on his podcast on Brain Rot, which was absolutely fantastic. Mike Paquin, actor from Caddy Hack. Feel free to watch all these interviews. They're all live. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I interviewed him a few years back, and I re-edited it, found some extra footage recently. WWE star or WWF star. Also, recently, only a month ago, I interviewed Megan Adara, the star of The Cellar, which is a great film coming out very shortly. In fact, the premiere, I think, is this week. A British horror film called The Cellar, which looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The Diana Clone director. Now, the Diana Clone. Now, if you've not seen the Diana Clone, it's free on YouTube. It is Jason Ritchie, the director. is the most. Don't watch my interview first. Watch the film first. It is insane. You've never seen a film like it. That's not hyperbole. That's not the hyperbole. That is, the Diana clone. Just YouTube it and then watch my interview with him. He wears a disguise in my interview as well because he doesn't want people to recognize him, I guess. There's a 20-minute interview just about stunts with Leslie Hoffman. There is also an interview with a fantastic podcast host, Jamie Ray, the creators of Grim Scary Tales comics. Oh my word, so many. Mike Paquin talking about being the first person to put in an order with Funko and help develop some of their ideas. Let's see, Vincent Pereira interview, who made his own films, but also is well known for being in the Viewer's universe with Kevin Smith. What else have we got on here? So many. Talking about with Leslie again, another interview with Leslie about her work on Star Trek. I talked about Subspecies earlier on, and also another small interview that I did with Ted Nicolau talking about the Scorsese film that he helped edit the featurettes for, Silence. Now, I don't know if you guys are fans of the film Silence. I think it's one of Scorsese's. Can a Scorsese film be underrated? I don't know, but for me, it's one that's maybe slept on a bit and forgotten. And it's a hard watch. You maybe only watch it once, possibly twice, but I think Andrew Garfield and Liam Neeson, and it's great. So anyway, Ted Nicolau discusses his work on that and his understanding of working alongside Scorsese. Not to forget that Ted also worked with Toby Hooper on Texas Chainsaw. So he's done a lot. So anyway, back to the point. If you go into our live section at the moment, on the 25th, we've got Confessions of Driving Instructor live discussion. Can't wait. If you scroll down a little bit below that, and 2 weeks ago, I was discussing the future of Carry On films, Carry On Beside the Sea. What might that look like? And then if we scroll back even further, right back to a month ago, I talk about all of the Confessions films and discuss their legacy. This was a month ago, but there's loads of things like that. I also looked at a few lists of people's top 25 comedy movies of all time and then got frustrated if they didn't have Airplane as number one. That was also fun. So feel free to have a good look round. Come on in, talk about movies with me. It's been a real good fun talking about this Indicator limited edition. Are you going to buy it? Has it arrived on your doorstep today? Have I got this the right way round? That's a good question. The answer is no. No, I haven't. What number did you get if you got it? But this is going pride of place. Look at that. Look at that for a spine. That is a spine and a half, isn't it? That is a spine and a half. And look at that for 5 spines. Oh, my word. I'm a happy boy. I'm going to watch them all now, back to back. I've got work to do, but I don't care. It's important. This is for science. This is for Britain. So, if you're new to the channel, this might be a bit strange. Oh, by the way, here you go. Indicator limited edition box set, 4 Blu-rays, commentary tracks, 120-page book, August 2024, powerhousefilms.co.uk. Get in there, my son. And what I'm going to do now, if you are not familiar with the channel, as I said, this is how I end all of my streams. Are you ready? Well, I do appreciate you watching. I can see there's 70 people watching at the moment. Like I say, if you're watching on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, snip over and give me 15 seconds of your time on YouTube as well. I really appreciate that. But no, just watching full stop means a lot to me. Just like angry old man shouting at cloud, but I'm not really that angry. I'm gonna say I'm not that old, but maybe I am. But I'm not shouting. I'm just talking about the things that I love, and I'm interested in hearing what you think about them too. So here we go. There's only one way to end this.